Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. By now, you all know me, but if not, my name's Mario. I put out videos primarily on clinical research, on occasion on personal finance, and someday hope to put out travel videos. In today's video, I'm going to talk about CRA burnout. And the way I'm going to do this is by giving you some insight into what a CRA schedule is like. And I will give you my schedule for this week, what I've done so far, what I plan to do, and then just multiply this to every week. And imagine if you were doing this week in and week out, and then you'll understand how CRAs burn out. And then I will give you some techniques that'll help you understand how to cope with that. So let's start with my week. I spent the weekend catching up on some work. Sunday, I did my timesheet, my expense report, caught up on some email here and there, and then got on to a plane on Monday. My plane was delayed. So I got to the airport around 10:30ish. My flight was around 12 or so. However, my flight was delayed over an hour. So by the time I got to my destination of Dallas, I landed there at rush hour. I was headed to a site that's 3 hours away from Dallas. So my plan to pick up a rental car and then drive the 3 hours. So I landed in Dallas, headed to the rental car facility, and then got onto the road, and I was stuck in traffic getting out of Dallas. So my 3 hour drive became a 4 hour drive, and you can see where this is going. So basically, I was at the airport by 10:30. I didn't get into the hotel until about 10 p.m. So there's your 12 and a half hour day of travel, plus also the work I did in the morning ahead of it. So let's call that a 14-hour day. Moving to the next day, I got to a site at 8:30 in the morning, monitored until 4:30. At 4:30, I got into back into my hotel room where I continued to work. I sent out emails, caught up on some TMF filing, worked on some confirmation and follow-up letters. By the time I got through everything I was doing, it was 9:30 p.m. And then I realized I'm in the middle of nowhere and I haven't eaten dinner. So I hop onto Yelp, check out what's open, and apparently the answer to that in the middle of nowhere is almost nothing. So after looking and looking and looking, I found one restaurant that served food until 11 p.m. Went there, and the food was absolutely terrible. Do not recommend. But then I came back to the hotel room. It is currently almost midnight, a few minutes shy of midnight Central Time, and decided, hey, this is going to be a really, really long week. A lot of people have been asking me to address burnout. So I think this is a good insight into see how people get burned out. So what's in store for me tomorrow? It's another going to be another 14-hour plus day. I will head from here back to Dallas, fly out to my next monitoring visit. Before I get to that, I have a meeting with my boss in the morning. I also have two monitoring reports and one follow-up letter that need to be done in addition to a confirmation letter. Only the follow-up letter is very high priority, followed by the site visit report or one of them, etc., and then going down in priority. So I will get to as much as I can. Uh, I will be waking up at 8:30 in the morning. I will leave this hotel by noon to drive back 3 hours to Dallas, three and a half. Hopefully, there's not as much traffic. And then I fly over to my next site. And actually, at the moment, I don't have my final ticket from my next site back home booked. Part of this reason, I've been going back and forth. There are two options for me, neither of which is great. One is to drive 1 hour from the site to an airport, at that airport, fly to Miami, and then from Miami, connect to Tampa. That gets me into Tampa like around 12:30 or 1 a.m. The alternative is to drive 7.5 hours. So, like I said, neither option is great, which is why I haven't booked that, and I will figure that out tomorrow. Which one I want to do? Do I want to hop on that plane, go to drive the hour to the airport, fly to Miami, fly back to Tampa, or do I just want to suck it up and drive 7.5 hours back home? If I don't make it the whole way, I can potentially stop somewhere and then just finish off the drive in the morning. So that'll be my day tomorrow. The following day, I will be on site again. I'll be on site from 8:30 to 4:30, or a little bit earlier, depending on if I have to catch that flight or not. Uh, if I go the route of taking the plane to Miami and back to Tampa, I will get home around 1 a.m. If I drive, I might try to do it in two segments, drive as far as I can on Thursday night, and then try to finish off what I can on Friday. The reason I'm reluctant to do that is my Friday is packed with meetings. So my meetings start at 9 a.m. and my last meeting ends at 5 p.m. So I don't want to be trying to drive and attend meetings throughout the day. So that's what my week looks like. So by the end of this week, I'll have at least the two reports from this week, possibly one report that's pending from a prior week, and then all the associated expense reports, timesheet, etc. So you can multiply this and just imagine doing this week in and week out, and you can see why people would burn out on this kind of a schedule. Now, this is a little bit of an exception where the two sites that I have in this week, both are not easily reachable. So I've had to do a lot of driving. The 3 hours is from Dallas to where I am now, the 3 hours back, possibly the 7.5 hour drive to Tampa. So from my next site, so um, there's a lot of driving, a lot of flying, but I don't think this week is atypical for many CRAs. Many CRAs do this, and a lot of newer CRAs aren't used to this. And once they realize that the expectation is this, and they have to do this week in and week out, they quickly burn out and say this is not the job for them. So, how have I lasted for 13 years as a CRA? Well, these are my couple of tips for burnout and how to avoid it. First, and my biggest tip, is to fully understand what you're getting into. Once you know what you're getting into, you have your mindset of, I'm going to be traveling a lot, I'm going to be working a lot, and you're sort of mentally prepared to face what's coming your way. The next step I have is to have an open communication line of communication with your manager. When things sort of go awry, say, hey, I think I have too much work, or I think I need to change some sites to make travel easier, or whatever you think in your mind will help you. Um, for example, I have one site at the moment where I am pretty vocal with my line manager that I need it gone from my schedule for a couple of reasons. One, it's another site that's very hard to get to. Second, they're extremely high enroller onto a study. And then the third thing is they really need somebody that has a lot of office time and can talk to them on the phone pretty often. And I don't have the availability to be on the phone constantly with them or to do 4+ day monitoring visits frequently, etc. So something like that, you can be like, hey, I can hold this temporarily. Can we look into other resourcing for this particular site or this particular project or whatever works for you? Just remember, it's in both your company's best interest and in your best interest to keep you and to keep you happy. So if there are things that you say, hey, this is really sort of ruining my life, not to be melodramatic, but if this assignment's ruining my life, maybe we can try to figure out a way to restructure it. Another tip I have is to have an open line of communication with coworkers. Often other CRAs are going through the same thing, and they may have figured out better ways to do things, easier ways, and they may make your life better. For example, I learned how to upload some of my follow-up letters that were taking me a lot of time, a lot faster, because somebody knew that our system took PDFs in a much better way than Word documents. So it was much easier to convert and um, upload a PDF into the system. So something like that, quick tip, that saves me time, and also allows me to get more stuff done. So those are my main tips on burnout. Now, if you're extremely burned out and you're saying, "Hey, I don't know how I'm getting to the next week," or I don't think I can do this job for more than a few more weeks. My biggest suggestion to that is plan a vacation, plan some downtime, find some CRAs that can cover for you completely and tune out for 3 weeks and come back. Just take a mental break. Sometimes you just need that mental break of, I've done this, I'm exhausted. Yeah, I just want to take a break, and that's all right. And I've done this in the past, and I've gone two different ways. I've realized the first time I didn't exactly take a break, the company went out of business. They had failed clinical trial. It was mid-October, and I was like, I don't want to rush into the next position. I'm kind of tired from the grind that I've gone through 2 years working at a startup. And rather than rush into my next position, I decided to take a vacation to Hungary. It was an awesome vacation. I went there for 10 days, came back, slowly got back into looking for a job. It was, uh, all in all, it was great. It was ended up being a break from about mid October to Jan 10th. And it was awesome. So by the time I started my position on Jan 10th, I was ready to go, and super excited to get back to monitoring. I've also taken another break in my career for a few months, and that was partially because I wasn't in love with my position, and there's a lot of backstory here. But in short, the CRO I was working with lost the contract to another CRO with a specific sponsor. And the sponsor that had won the contract didn't have the CRA resources for the contract. So we went from being adequately staffed at one CRO to being completely inadequately staffed at another. And it was a nightmare. So like basically, I was like, we need more people, and then they just couldn't get more people enough fast enough, and the workload was insane. And there was no one to transition to because they weren't able to hire fast enough. So um, it's just unfortunate when something like that happens, because I feel like if the original CRO would have stayed on that contract, I probably would have stayed as well. Once they switched CROs, things didn't go as well. And to boot, I didn't really get along with my line manager. So it was just a negative experience all around. So that's my main tips to avoid burnout. So have realistic expectations. Understand this is not a job where you go and basically get to enjoy every city and sit down on the beach and drink mai tais. No, you're going to wherever they send you. It can be the middle of nowhere. The nearest airport or nearest major airport can be 3 hours away from your site. So just have those realistic expectations, to have an open line of communication with your line manager, and make sure you're vocal about resourcing. Hey, I have availability, or I am assigned to too many things. Also, talk to your CRA colleagues. They will know best of what you're going through. They're often on the same projects, they're often working with sites that are challenging for often the same reasons. So just make sure you have that communication with your CRA colleagues. And then if you're extremely burned out, look into taking a vacation, or alternatively, was something that you have the luxury of doing if you're a CRA with experience, is resigning and starting somewhere else in a few months. So those are all my tips. If you are a CRA experiencing burnout and you want to reach out to me, you can comment below, and I will try and help you with some additional tips as well. All right, it is now 12 12:06 a.m. So I should get to bed. I do have to wake up at 8:30, or have to be ready to go at 8:30. So probably wake up at 7:45 or 8 a.m. in the morning, and then I have a day that will go until 10 or 11 p.m. So that is my reality for tomorrow. Like I said, know what you're in for, and that is what I'm in for tomorrow. All right. I want to thank you all for your support. A quick reminder, please smash that like button. I am still nowhere near that 1,000 subscriber mark that I need to hit, but we are now approaching 400 subscribers. And hopefully, we can hit at least 500, getting me 50% of the way to the goal by the end of the year. All right. I am off to bed. So, from my end, I want to wish you a very good night. Thank you for watching.